How many of you ever participated in an altar call? Or when everyone's heads are bowed and eyes closed, solemnly raised your hand in an admission of guilt to some sort of sinful behavior you recognized in your life to be prayed over? Well, congratulations. You were manipulated by your pastor. And we talked about this in our latest episode of the Dan and Can podcast, where we started talking, going off on a tangent about some of these manipulations that happen in the churches and how they actually work and play off of our need to fit into a group and our acceptance with a crowd and what really happens. And I was telling a story about a ex-worship leader that I knew that was up on the altar during one of these. The solemn music's playing in the background, and the pastor said, "Everyone bow your heads." And sit here, and he had a confession of some sort of sinful guilt, whether it be lust or anger or envy or anything like that, whatever the message of the day was. He said, "Now, if you're suffering for this, allow us to pray over you. Just raise your hand right now." And the guy that was up on the stage on the worship team said, he looked out and no hands were up. And the pastor then's like, "Okay, I see a couple hands coming up." And once he said that, some hands actually started popping up. And then the pastor kept going on, "There's a few more over here, and there's a couple more in the back. And there's a group of them over here." And then more and more hands kept popping up. It's a manipulation tactic. It eases this tension of being the only one to stand out and admit something or do anything like this. But it was all manipulated out of people, because the whole message spoke to him. And I remember being in the faith thinking, "Oh, that's God and the Spirit moving through us and through myself or individuals here." But truthfully, looking at it outside, when you can look at it from a scientific method, it's just your brain. You've been beaten down through this message. You've been looked and told on this specific thing, and you start searching inside yourself, and you start noticing these tendencies, because that's what they want to do, show you how bad you are and how you're falling short, giving you some examples from the pulpit. Then at the end, that's sitting inside of you. And then you realize you're not alone. Everyone else is doing this. But truly, are you? What's going on? You're just fitting in with the group. And it brings me a story of when Candy was in there, and she was called up to the stage when she was young. And she was a strong-headed little lady when she was back in the day and younger. And this pastor was slaying people in the spirit, laying his hands on them. Everyone's collapsing. He's seen that Pentecostal type stuff. And she said to herself, "I want to make sure this is Jesus moving through me," and braced herself and took a very aggressive stance. And the pastor started pushing on her, and she pushed back. And he kept pushing. It was a war of the wills between the two of them, because she did not feel anything moving through her. But finally, after a minute or so of this fight back and forth and this pressure of the pastor, she's still pushing and pushing hard on her, she relented and gave up the ghost and fell on the ground and realized this was all fake. Because they want to put on this spectacle to manipulate you, to maneuver you, to get you to feel bad about yourself, so that they can keep you in their clutches. It's all mind tricks and mind fuckery. Hopefully you've gotten out of it.